In this video, I'm going to explain what unmet needs are. I'm going also to explain how do children cope with these unmet needs. And I'm also going to offer you one or two things you can start doing to cope with your own needs. Hi, this is Rose and I'm a psychotherapist. So when you hear people talking about childhood unmet needs, what do they really mean? Childhood unmet needs, these are the things that were meant to happen, but somehow it didn't happen because of one reason or the other. So these are the good things that were supposed to happen to a child. But the people that were supposed to provide these good things, somehow they didn't manage to provide it. When children come into this world, they have very specific needs, and it's really important for parents or their caregivers to meet these needs. Otherwise, if these needs are not met, this is going to affect them physically, psychologically, and emotionally as they grow up, even as they become an adult. So what are some of the reasons why parents are not able to meet the needs of their children fully? It can be a number of reasons, but just few of them can be maybe parents, they were suffering from their own mental illness, or they are suffering from addiction or substance misuse, and therefore because of their own problems they are not able to meet the needs of their children fully. Or maybe a child was brought up by a single dad or a single mom, or both parents, they were working so hard to meet their physical needs. And therefore, because parents or caregivers, they were focusing on the physical needs, so the emotional needs of that child were not met. Or maybe some parents somehow, and sometimes even it's hard to imagine, they decided to physically, emotionally, and sexually abuse their children. So that sense of protection from their parents were not there. And that can be one of the reasons why a child's needs of protection was not met. So what happens if children's needs are not met? Remember, these are not just needs that were not met. These are the needs that comes together with a lot of emotions, a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, and a lot of disappointments. So when these needs are not met, it means that a child is going to sit with those emotional pains of these needs not met. They are going to sit with this anger, frustration, disappointment, sadness, because these needs are not met. And as human beings, it doesn't matter if they're children or not. We don't like pain. We always do something to get rid of that pain. It's the same thing what children do. Although they don't have skills, they don't have knowledge, they don't have enough resources, but they can adapt to meet these needs. And Dr. Hiller and also Tim Fletcher, they've spoken so much about the adaptation techniques that children learn how to do, or children end up doing to meet these needs that are not met, to cope with the pain of rejection, the pain of frustration, the pain of anger when their needs are not met. For example, if a child's needs of sense of approval was not met by their parents, children might adapt to really working hard in school, getting good grades. They stay out of trouble. They become perfectionists in everything they do because they think that if they're able to stay away from trouble, if they are able to achieve so well, do so well in school or activities, they are going to get that sense of approval from their parents. So they have adapted to working so hard to try to please their parents. And a child that has been sexually or physically or mentally abused by their own parents or their caregiver or people around their lives, they can adapt by either disassociating themselves when these things are happening to them. And therefore, the more they disassociate, they are not going to feel that pain. Or they learn how to be invisible, because any form of attention means being abused, means being rejected, means being punished. So they are always quiet. They can sit in a corner in a room where they don't draw attention, or they can remove themselves from the parents' home, or they spend a lot of time in their room, in their computer, whatever. So being absent from their parents or being absent from their caregiver means they are not going to be abused, they are not going to be rejected. So children end up learning new skills on how to cope with all these unmet needs. So what happens if children continue using these skills or adaptation techniques to help them to cope with their unmet needs? What happens if they continue using the same skills as an adult? Remember, these skills a child started in a way to protect them from shame, to protect them from pain, to protect them from being rejected. And therefore, they've continued using these skills even as an adult. But as an adult, they now realizing this way of doing things is not helpful anymore. Actually, it's holding them back, it's limiting them from enjoying relationship in full, it's limiting them from climbing in their careers, in their business, or whatever they are trying to achieve. Now, for example, a child that learned that the only way to seek approval or to get approval from their parents is to be perfectionist, is to work hard in school, is to stay out of trouble. Therefore, as an adult, each time they found themselves in their career or in their business, what they end up doing is they try to achieve so much to get that sense of approval. They depend on others so much just to get that sense of approval. They become so good in whatever they do to get that sense of approval. So they are always chasing to the next level. They are always chasing to achieve the next thing. And the more they do that, they feel like actually they are getting that sense of approval. But deep inside, they are so worried, they are so scared that they are going to lose everything. And then people are going to reject them. People are going to let them down, and they will end up being alone. They will end up being a failure. The same child, the child that feel like they were not protected and therefore they were abused mentally, physically, sexually, they end up learning not to trust people. And therefore, as an adult, they don't trust people that easily. They end up rejecting people before they are being rejected. And you can't enjoy fully a healthy relationship without trusting. So trusting others is part of what makes a relationship to be a healthy relationship. And therefore, because of their past, right now as an adult, they really struggle to trust people. And therefore, they end up all the time being guarded, looking for red signs, looking for danger. And when you are in a relationship where you are looking for danger or red sign, you end up missing the green signs. And therefore, the more actually you don't learn to trust, the more relationship don't work for you. And therefore, you end up feeling rejected. You end up feeling alone. So all these coping strategies, they started by being a way of trying to protect yourself, but at the moment is working against you. And therefore, one of the tips that I can offer to you right now, for example, if you really struggle with trust, learn to trust people that you are so close to them, even if it means one person. But only trust somebody if you know that actually they have your back. If you know this is somebody that can allow you just to be you, you don't need to wear any mask, you don't need to please them. They are just going to accept you of who you are. If you have somebody like that in your life, then you can learn to trust this person. You can learn how to actually bring down all your walls, bring down every mask that you've been wearing. Just be yourself and see what they're going to do. Also, if you don't have such a friend, try to develop a new friend that can help you to learn how to trust others. Somebody that will always show up for you. Somebody that will always encourage you and support you. And the more you surround yourself or spend a lot of time with this person, you are going to learn how to trust others. The other thing that somebody can do for those people who are struggling with sense of approval is really learn how to approve yourself. How do we learn how to approve ourselves? Is to acknowledge what we've already achieved and feel good and acknowledge actually how hardworking you've been to be able to achieve these things, the sacrifice that you've made, the effort that you've put in achieving this particular thing. So you are proving yourself by acknowledging it. Lastly, if you want to learn more about your own unmet needs and what are some of the things you did to cope with those unmet needs that you're still using it right now, so those are your coping strategies, those are your survival techniques, and how these survival techniques or coping techniques are impacting on you right now, click the link below because I'm going to help you to identify your own unmet needs, to identify your own coping strategies or survival techniques that you use and how that is impacting on you right now. And then I'm going to help you with some techniques and skills